Hello everyone, and welcome to a quick 20-minute yin session. Today's session is going to be focused on the shoulders. So a lot of us have been doing lots of computer work recently, more time at home, more time on our devices. So today's class is focused on opening up through the chest, through the shoulders, allowing us to breathe a bit better and kind of improve our posture. So to start with, find your way down into child's pose. Make sure you've got maybe a couple of pillows. If you have a blanket, maybe grab a blanket as well. And to start with, bring a couple of pillows in front of you. And we're going to be finding our way down into child's pose, but extending our elbows in front of us onto the pillows. So we're aiming here to provide a shelf for the elbows to lay on. So taking hands together in front of you, settling the elbows down into whatever they're laying on, and then starting to allow yourself to soften into this shape. So noticing as you start to settle whether you need to move yourself forward or back, and whether you need to change the distance of your knees from each other. We're aiming to feel a stretch along the top of the chest, or the side of top of the chest, into the shoulder. Slowly beginning to settle a little further into the shape. Starting to allow a softening to expand from the chest to the shoulder blades, into the face and the neck. Maybe starting to consciously slow down the breath. Beginning to feel yourself settle in here. So noticing the types of thoughts that you might be holding. Noticing your mental state, maybe your mood. Noticing if there are any thoughts that just keep bouncing around. And if there's something that you don't want to focus on right now, see whether you can just allow them to be in the background as you begin to bring in your breath a little further. And inviting it into wherever you feel this shape. And really starting to allow yourself to move further into the present. Moving further into present moment experience. So we're not ignoring any mental activity. And we're just choosing to acknowledge it and allow it to do its thing in the background. Consciously bringing the attention back into whatever's here and now. Feeling into the heaviness of the body on the floor. Maybe feeling into the knees, the feet, the shins, the elbows. And noticing here whether you've started to settle in and maybe you need to make some more space. So if you do, you might take the knees a little further from each other. And you might reposition yourself in a way that allows you to stretch further into the shoulders. Consciously softening and beginning to take about 5 final breaths here. Slowly beginning to find your way back up. And from here, moving our props out of the way. We won't need them for this next one. And then starting to allow yourself down onto the belly. This time we're going to be taking a variation of fallen wing, but instead of having an arm outstretched, I invite you to try cactusing the arm. So we'll be cactusing the right arm, so lining up the elbow with both shoulders. And then taking the gaze over to the left, beginning to roll onto the right side. So for those of you that might be used to doing this shape with the arm outstretched, that's always an option, but today I encourage you to give this a go. Even if it feels like it's not your full expression. So in this shape, we're holding ourselves up with the left hand, and the left knee could either be supporting the shape, bent, resting some weight on it, or you could take it behind the body. Whatever feels most supportive for you. And then as you really start to arrive in this shape, see whether it's possible to soften from the hand down into the shoulder, down into the chest. Feeling right fingertips relax. Feeling a sense of melting down through the right arm, the right shoulder. Noticing how your breath is moving through you. And just allowing it to be however it is, whether it's fast, let it be fast, slow, deep or shallow. If you are feeling like you've got quite an active mind, you might work on consciously deepening the breath. And if at any point you start to feel some pins and needles or some tingliness throughout the right arm or hand or shoulder, if it feels safe, then just allow it to be as it is. Otherwise, if at any point you feel like you need to allow yourself out a little bit, you could do that. But I really encourage you to, as long as it feels safe, just allow yourself to be present with whatever arises. Whether that's physical, mental, emotional. Starting to allow yourself to really observe without any judgment. So just witnessing whatever it is that comes across your attention. Checking in with your edge and noticing whether you need to push yourself a little further in or whether you need to allow yourself a little further out. As we begin to move towards our final breaths here. Using your next exhale to start to allow yourself down really slowly. Coming to rest however feels most supportive for you. I like to rest my forehead on my hand. Just taking a couple of breaths here. Really planting the attention on the right shoulder. Noticing any really soft or subtle changes. Any feelings of aliveness. And then whenever you feel ready, starting to set up on the other side. So cactusing the left arm this time. Bending it and aligning the left elbow with the left shoulder. Imagining a line running down the tops of the shoulders, across the tops of the shoulders, continuing down to the left elbow. Taking the head across to the right side and beginning to roll yourself onto the other side. Maybe immediately you notice that this side feels different, you have more or less space. And just seeing whether it's possible to just be okay with however things are. Allowing yourself to let it go of any stories about why that might be the case, why the body might be different on different sides. Just allowing yourself to slip further into the present, further into the body, consciously inviting the breath into wherever you feel sensation. Seeing if you're able to scan through the body and soften anything that's not required to keep you here. So maybe that involves softening through the legs. Maybe that involves softening from the fingers of the left hand all the way into the shoulder, the chest. Softening through the face. And if you do start to notice any tingling or pulsing, any pins and needles, just check in with whether it feels safe, sustainable. And if it doesn't, allow yourself out a little bit. Or if it does, you can sit there and really soak up the experience of aliveness. Feeling how it feels to be alive in this body. Checking in with your edge and noticing whether you have a little bit more space or whether you need to soften the shape a little more. As we move towards our final breaths here. And using your next exhale to come back down onto the belly. Resting in any way that feels right for you. Consciously breathing down into the belly, feeling the belly connecting with the floor. Seeing whether you can feel each breath as it moves through the body. Maybe noticing the sensation of the air moving into and out of the lungs. Maybe noticing the gentle rise and fall of the body. And using your next inhalation, start to bring your elbows in line with each other. So as though we were going to go into Sphinx. And then reaching opposite hand for opposite elbow. And starting to walk elbows across the body. So we're crossing our arms directly in front. And then from here you could just allow the head to hang. If this doesn't feel comfortable, you could move the elbows further down. That might alleviate any overly strong sensations. Or if you want to make this more intense, you would move the arms further up, so further towards your face. Really consciously walking the hands away from each other, starting to spread further into So I often notice as I lay in this shape, it doesn't take long before more space starts to open and I can walk my hands a little further apart from each other. Further up towards the face or further down towards the belly. Slowly begin to walk the elbows back towards the sides of the mat. And then allow yourself down onto the mat. Coming to rest for just a moment. Just taking about 3 full breaths. And then as you feel ready, coming back to sitting. You might feel good to do a few slow shoulder rolls in each direction. Really feeling into each little sticky bit as you move through the shoulders. Softening into whatever seat you've found. And just placing the hands somewhere on the body. Maybe planting them, palms facing up. Straightening through the spine. Softening through the shoulders, the neck. And then bringing hands together into heart center. Just pausing for a moment of gratitude. Gratitude for this body, this practice. For how fortunate we are in this moment. Namaste. Thank you for practicing with me today. If you have any questions, comments, please get in touch on social media or through the Gertrude Street website. And I look forward to practicing with you more soon. Have a beautiful day.